train the flow of speaking through natural movement of thought. Use 7 simple steps. These steps work like a color staircase. Seven simple steps, 7 colors. The upside is it saves time. The upside is people understand it faster. The upside is the message feels clearer. So what's good about the shorter version? The upside is people get it faster. Why would you choose this option? The upside is it sounds much more natural. The downside is it feels too simple. The downside is you lose some detail. The downside is people may misunderstand it. So what's the weak point? The downside is you lose a bit of importance. Is there any problem with this version? Yeah, the downside is it may sound too basic. The trade-off is you get clarity but lose detail. The trade-off is it sounds simpler but less precise. The trade-off is it's easier to follow but less rich. So what do we gain and lose here? The trade-off is it's clear but less detailed. Why not always use this version? The trade-off is it can sound better but explain less. The catch is it only works in some situations. The catch is it sounds too casual for formal use. The catch is people may take it the wrong way. So why not just use that one? The catch is it sounds too casual in some contexts. Is that solution good enough? Maybe, but the catch is it doesn't solve the whole problem. You gain clarity, but you lose detail. You gain speed, but you lose nuance. You gain simplicity, but you lose depth. So what happens if we shorten it a lot? You gain clarity, but you lose some detail. What's the price of making it more natural? You gain flow, but you lose a bit of precision. It helps in one way but makes things harder in another. It helps in one way but creates a new problem too. It helps in one way but weakens something else. So is the simpler version always better? Not really. It helps in one way but makes things harder in another. Why is this still tricky? Because it helps in one way but makes the tone less precise. So yeah, that's the trade-off. So yeah, that's the trade-off here. So yeah, that's the trade-off in this case. So we can't have both at the same time. Not fully. So yeah, that's the trade-off. So that's the balance we're dealing with. Exactly. So yeah, that's the trade-off. The upside is it sounds clearer. The downside is it loses detail. The trade-off is simplicity versus precision. The catch is it doesn't work everywhere. You gain flow but you lose nuance. It helps in one way but makes things harder in another. So yeah, that's the trade-off. The upside is it sounds clearer and easier to follow. The downside is you lose some detail. The trade-off is clarity versus precision. The catch is that the simpler version won't work in every situation. You gain flow, but you lose some nuance. It helps in one way but makes things harder in another. So what's good about the shorter version? The upside is people get it way faster. Why would we go with this one? The upside is it sounds much more natural. So what's the weak part? The downside is you lose a bit of detail. Is there a problem with making it shorter? Yeah, the downside is it can sound too basic. So what's the trade here? The trade-off is it's clearer but less detailed. Why not always use the simpler version? The trade-off is it sounds better but explains less. So why not just use that one every time? The catch is it doesn't work in every context. So what's the problem with this option? The catch is it might sound too casual. What happens if we make it much shorter? You gain clarity but you lose detail. What's the price of making it sound more natural? You gain flow but you lose some precision. So is the simpler version always better? Not really. It helps in one way but makes things harder in another. Why is this still kind of tricky? Because it helps in one way but makes things harder in another. So we can't really have both at the same time, not fully. So yeah, that's the trade-off. So that's the balance we're dealing with pretty much. So yeah, that's the trade-off.